talk to me about what the process looks like. So I want to sign up. What's step one?
So step one is calling us, which I always say is probably the hardest part for people to do, is like picking up the phone and actually reaching out. But then we have one of our matchmakers jump on, explain how we work, but also our biggest thing is that we want to make sure that they're a good fit for our clients, because once again, we would hate for people to make this investment if we can't set them up for success. Yeah. So we do a really in-depth interview process. It takes about an hour. We go over everything about them, but it's fun. Yeah. Like past relationships, what they like to do on a weekend, where they grew up, what they're physically attracted to, like literally everything. And then we take them into our matchmaking meeting, and that's when the fun starts.
Wow. Okay. I'm sure there's a few laughs, a few cries in those
for
calls.
Oh, for sure. Part-time therapist, part-time matchmaker.
Right. So what's the long-term commitment? So if I sign up and everything looks good, I don't have any deal breakers, and do I, like you set me up and I like the first guy I go out with, do you guys encourage that you see a couple people first? You have to sort of be invested in the process for a couple months? What do you guys usually recommend?
So serial dating is probably my biggest pet peeve. Just because people are like, I want to go on like 5 dates a week. I'm like, that just sounds exhausting if you ask me.
Oh my God, who has that time?
I know. It is also about quality versus quantity. I always joke. I'm like, I want to see you go out on those second, third, fourth, fifth dates with the same person versus a ton of first dates, or we're not doing our job right.
Yeah.
It's like you're doing the same thing that you were doing online. So we really do kind of fuel the fire. I also think with online dating, like second dates slip through the cracks because they're like, oh my God, 2 days went by and we haven't texted. Maybe it's too long. Or
that happens actually daily.
Oh, daily. Should I reach out first? Wait, should he reach out first?
Yeah,
and I'm like, you guys,
in your head.
Like two people really like each other and they don't reach out.
And they don't reach out. So we're also calling and being like, hey, have you reached out to Sam? Like, let's get that second date scheduled. Like, come on, what are you waiting for?
I love this little accent that you have. Is this your phone voice? Hello?
My customer service
Sam?
call. Hey, Sam. Oh, God, I hope not. Do I sound like a creep?
Yes, you do.
Okay, a little bit, but it was cute. I still liked it. I was into it. Oh my gosh. Okay, so you guys help guide them through the process, but you're not trying to, you're not supposed to be here forever, but also it's not like, okay, let's just keep it moving and see as many guys as possible. I was telling you guys before that I work in staffing, but I even feel that way. I do professional matchmaking, and there are sometimes you find the perfect candidate for the job, and they just want someone for the sake of comparison. And I'm like, that you might lose them. Yeah, they might not be available. You can interview 900 other candidates all you want, but they may not be as good. And then that person that was the perfect fit is going to be gone. But we sort of have that little, I don't know what that is in the back of our brains that it's like the curiosity that we just have to satisfy that. I don't know what that human nature feeling instinct is, and I hate it.
Need, want.
Yeah. It's just, the generation, the times. We have too much access
and
to
it's
things.
Instant gratification. It's just right at your fingertips.
What about, how do you normally coach some of your clients through, like, oh, he was really sweet, but I didn't feel like there was a connection? Do you often encourage them to give it a shot anyway, or do you sort of respect those initial gut feelings?
It depends. I feel like sometimes we would push it, especially if the other person really felt something and maybe they were describing that their match was either nervous or running late, like something happened. We do encourage that second date. If they're pretty flat out, maybe there was no physical attraction to them or something serious, then we wouldn't. We would respect their boundary there. But most times, I say 9 out of 10 times, we would encourage the second date.
Oh, absolutely. And even with online dating, I feel like nowadays a first date really is an interview.
It is.
Yeah.
Like, people are so different on a second date versus a first date. So, like, if there's a part of you that had a great time, then absolutely do that second date.
Okay. And what about, I've seen 2 guys, maybe, 3 different dates in total, and you start to learn what I liked, what I didn't like, right? Do you often have sort of catch-up calls with the clients to readjust some of their preferences? I know you were saying people will be surprised, right? And sometimes what they think they wanted changes. Can you sort of update your profile and say, actually, I want to open up the age range, or I want to keep this in mind instead? Do you guys do that?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And you can call us anytime. There's always someone at the phone. So if you want to speak to one of the matchmakers, you always have access to us, which is what sets us apart too. We're always there.
So it doesn't need to be like anything formal. It can be like a quick little,
absolutely not.
Here's what I learned.
But also one of the biggest things when working with a matchmaker is the feedback. So like after every single one of your dates, we touch base with you the next day and we want the nitty gritty. Like that's why I say we're like girlfriends, because we call him like, hey, how was it with Tom last night?
Yeah.
Yeah, give me all the details. So it's always ever changing, because you could go out with him and be like, God, I loved how dedicated he was to his family, or he was so passionate about his job. Like I didn't realize how sexy that was. Like let's focus on something like that moving forward.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you got it, you know?
And then do they have each other's contact information to set up the second date, or do you guys facilitate a second date as well?
So the second date is up to them. You are provided with their phone number just in case of an emergency. We don't allow them to contact each other before the date, but just in case someone was running late or something like that. So the second date would be up to them. So they're free to go, free to roam.
You're free to run. The leash is off. Yeah. No. But so you guys, once that initial introduction is made, you leave it between the two of them to decide where it goes from there. But you can kind of share that feedback. Would you say, okay, well, Tom said this about you, or do you only get my feedback?
So no direct feedback, especially if it's something that somebody else can't change, because at the end of the day, we want everybody to be fully transparent with us to set them up for success. But for example, like if Tom had a really good time, I'd be like, Tracy, Tom had a fantastic time. Like, are you guys texting? What's going on? So it's not like we completely jump off after the first date, because we are, first of all, nosy, and we want to know what's going on.
Yeah, same.
So we are constantly checking in. I
love it. Okay. What coaching elements come into play beyond sharing the feedback? Like it'd been a while since someone's gone on a date. It's their first date in a couple months or maybe a year. Do you sort of give them some advice on what to wear, what to do, things like that, and then throughout the process as well? Or do you guys just want people to be their most authentic selves?
So we definitely give coaching, and it is something completely different than the regular membership. But I always say that I am not here to change you, because at the end of the day, it is you that is in the relationship. We just want to make sure that you're moving with your best foot forward. You know, like if you're talking about work 24/7, we don't want to hear that. Right. Your date doesn't want to hear that. You know,
so
we
you
don't
can give them some
exes.
little pointers.
Yeah. If we're getting the same feedback on you repeatedly, we'll bring that to your attention.
Okay. Very cool. I think that's what I'd be most curious about. Just like, Tracy, what are all the things you're doing wrong?
It is so funny. That's what so many people say, is they love hearing the feedback coaching. That's how narcissistic we are. We're like, we just want to know what they said about us.
Oh, really? I was going to say it's because I'm so insecure. I would be like, I obviously fucked something up, so just tell me what it is now. That's what I would want to know. Oh my gosh, that's so funny.